What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back today with more Danmachi. Now, today I am going to bring you guys kind of a candid discussion on the upcoming banner. Now, normally we sit here and we try to hype this, and we try to, like, you know, get people excited, but one of the biggest complaints that I've heard about the franchise, well, just the game in general, is that there's too many banners. And I'm at the state now where I completely agree. It has been, basically since the anniversary, in fact, during the anniversary, every 2 weeks. Now, I want to say this. We do get a ton of free-to-play currency in this game. And I mean a ton. I want to say it's like 8,000 to 10,000 a month. And that's an insane number. I can't think of too many other games. In fact, I can't think of any other games that give you that level. And I'm sure somebody's going to start, oh, Dragalia does, and this does, and that does. I don't play those games, okay? So for the games that I play, this is phenomenal. This is amazing. But I totally agree with you guys. It is a lot. It is cumbersome, and it is just flat too many banners. Period. Now, I'm going to come up with some solutions, and we're going to talk about that towards the end of the video. Let's talk about these banners, and let's talk about a personal solution that I'm going to be taking basically to mitigate my cost going into this banner. Alright, so let's talk about banner number 1. Here it is. Levi, eyes, and a mid. Okay, now if you saw my video yesterday, you're not going to get much new information, so I'm going to kind of go through their stats, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about their usefulness and things like that, so we're going to get a little more in depth on these. Okay, Levi's HP is 3687. It's not amazing, but it's not bad for a magic unit. MP 406 is very, very good. A magic stat at 1995 is about average, I would say, at this point of magic. Magic's been hitting the 2K mark, and strength has been hitting 2100. So good, not phenomenal, okay? And agility actually is really, really good, too, at 1046. It's a really good agility stat. Not groundbreaking, but good. Now, defense. 636 is an amazing defensive stat for a magic unit, especially one that's built like this. How do I mean by that? Well, stats-wise, skill 1 is a 54 MP cost, foes plural, fast, high water magic attack with ultra and counter rate, 20% charm, and allies magic 50% and critical rate 40%. That's all allies magic 50. I think that's the biggest we've gotten outside of an essay. That's a great skill. Don't get me wrong, a great skill. But it's only going to get you so far. And a lot of units already have their own magic buffs. So how good is that really? And that 20% charm, you know, there's only so far that's going to get you. Now, there is another unit here that charm is going to work with. But we'll get to that here on banner number 2. Let's get to her second skill. This is interesting, okay? 255 MP cost. Allies. Fast. It's a fast skill. KO save if HP is above 10%. Obviously, if it drops below 10%, the skill is removed. Self. Agility and guard rate plus 60%. Phenomenal. And 3 additional actions. Foes, plural, mid-water magic attack with ultra and guard rate. Let me tell you how I see this working out in the perfect, ideal sense of things. Number 1, this is a war games unit. Let's not beat around the bush. It's 100% a war games build. Number 2, you're going to go skill 2 first. You do all the, the KO save. You're going to do, the agility and guard rate buffing. That way, when you get to skill 1, remember, both these are fast skills. So when you get to skill 1, she's going to come out of the gate with a really insanely fast skill. She's probably going to be the first out of the gate. So while her agility stat isn't amazing, she is probably going to be the fastest agility in the game at the moment once she gets that buff. So turn 2, we do skill 1. Hopefully get the charm off. Probably not. It's only 20%. And the magic stat and critical rate both buff, but they only buff the secondary attack. That extra attack, the extra action, the mid-water magic attack with ultra and guard rate, that is basically triggered by skill 2. So you're talking the second attack on skill 1 is the first time those buffs are applied. It's a perfect world. That's like the way you would want to use this unit. Is this groundbreaking? No, really. It could hit hard. It could hurt. And it would be fun because she's going to be fast. She's going to come out of the gate. She's going to hit them hard from the beginning. But I don't think it's enough to really make me want this unit. And only 20% charm really leaves me kind of like guessing, like trying to figure out what they're really going for here. I don't doubt she's going to hit great. I don't doubt that at all. But I don't see this at all replacing anybody else that I have on the water team on my War Games team. I could be wrong on that, but I just don't see her replacing anybody on the water team, personally. Okay? And her skill 3 is a throwaway skill. I'm going to say it. It is a throwaway skill. Foe singular super water magic attack with temporary great magic boost. Temporary great magic boost, great. It is not going to even cast a shadow on a skill that has a percentage boost. No percentage boost. Skill 3 is an absolute throwaway. You're never going to use it, ever. One out of 100 runs, you might accidentally use it and go, oh, that was pointless. Why did I bother? Now, SA. Foes, plural, ultra water magic attack with ultra penetration rate, 40% skill damage per self, water, and magic buff. Remember, that basically becomes 160%, because that 40% gets replicated because you're going to do water buffing on both sides. You do magic buffing on both sides. So 40, 40, 40, 40 becomes 160. That's math, y'all. And water resist down 60%, which once again, I think we already have a unit that does water resist 60%. I don't see myself running this on a team when I've already got Aisha, because she's going to hit like a truck. Now, she might buff Aisha, she might bolster Aisha, but there are very, very, very few circumstances in which I would get enough out of that SA to make it worth running, as a quad. I think a triple is going to be much better off in almost every circumstance. Could be wrong on that. The upcoming Familia Rush may change my opinion. But as it stands, I just don't see the value. I think Leafy is an easy skip. I did not talk about her passive. 35% fire resistance. Kind of guess that because she's water. Instead of countering, allies extend status buffs by 1 turn. I like that skill. That's beautiful. That means every time she counters, she is going to extend all your allies' buffs. If she counters 3 or 4 times in a turn, your buffs are basically never going to run out. I love that. That is phenomenal. I like that a lot. Still not enough to make me want to summon for her. 35% magic, endurance, agility, and dex. Another agility buff. Old girl's going to be quick on that second turn. Not on first turn, on the second turn. And 35% damage reduction on guard, and she's an ogre killer. Once again, a very good unit all the way around. She's going to be fantastic. I don't see her replacing anybody that's already on that team. And even if she did, I don't think the benefits you're going to see out of pulling for her are going to outweigh what we're going to see coming here forward with the winter and New Year's events that are bound to bolster new teams. Water team's already fantastic. It doesn't need this buff, and I don't think it's enough of a buff to warrant me spending my free-to-play Iris. That's the real talk about this. You have to look at these banners. When you're free-to-play, you have to look at these banners and say, is this worth my Iris? And the answer, I think, in the case of Leafy is absolutely not. No. Let's move on. Let's talk about Eyes. Now, Eyes is another interesting situation, and darn near the exact opposite. So Eyes is a physical unit. Her stats are 3865, or her HP is 3865, which ain't so great, nor is her MP at 284. Now, her physical stat, 2095, is fantastic. It's a very good physical stat. As I said before, 2100 or close to is really good. 572 for her defenses is very good. Not groundbreaking, mind you, but very good. Remember, that stat we got on Leafia as far as defenses go is almost unheard of on a magic unit. Magic units tend to be a little bit more squishy. This is a squishier physical unit, so it's the numbers ain't looking so great. That said, that agility stat, 1187, is going to make this a really, really fast unit. Eyes is going to be really, really, really speedy. Now, let's look at her stats, okay? And unfortunately, I don't have the stats once I get to put on the screen, but Listen closely. Skill 1, 37 MP cost. Allies. Fast, strength, dex, and agility, all up 35%. Self, light attack damage, 100%. She gives herself 100% light attack damage. That means old girl is going to hit stupid hard. Skill 2, 61 MP cost. Foes plural, highlight physical attack with ultra uncounter rate. Foes plural, with ultra encounter rate and strength, magic, and physical resist down 30% for 4 turns. 3 additional actions. Foes plural, low light physical attack removes AoE damage reduction buffs. I.e., you do skill 2 on the first turn. Once again, it's AoE, so we're talking wargame. Turn 1, you do skill 2. Okay? Comes out with this hit, a big debuff. Turn 2, she does skill 1. She gives herself all of these major buffs. Now, because skill 1 is a fast skill, it's going to go off very early. Now, she gives herself an agility buff. That agility buff, unfortunately, does not take a hold until turn 3, which most of the time you're not going to get in Wargame. You're going to get a turn 2, and then that's that for units. I hate to say it, but it is what it is. That's the way Wargame works, for the most part. Now, does all these major buffs, those affect the secondary action, which is a low light physical attack. Not the greatest attack in the world, but removing all the AoE damage reduction buffs means if you get to turn 3, your unit is going to hit insanely hard. Remember, they're going to have 35% strength, 35% dex and agility, not that that really matters. But then, on top of all that, you're going to get light damage 100%. That turn 3 hit is going to hit stupid hard. Outside of Wargame, that light damage 100% is going to hit stupid hard. I like this unit. There's a big problem with this unit, though, in that the build, no matter how you do this, your biggest damage comes on turn 3. And that's going to be good for, I'm sure, the incoming Familia Rush. But I don't like that for Wargame. I don't like waiting that long to get damage out. So for me, I, once again, am a little on this build. That's a great build, and you can even use her as a sack for, the debuffs. That extra action is going to be great. So I'm as excited as I was yesterday. I think my excitement has started to subside a little bit for this unit. Now, skill 3 is, once again, a throwaway skill. 36 MP cost, foe singular, super light physical attack, ultra and guard rate, temporary great strength boost. I love the great strength boost, but it will not ever take the place of a good percentage buff. So, that lacking, skill 3 is a throwaway. You're looking at skill 1 and skill 2. Those are the main things. You're never going to use skill 3 with rare exception. Now, her SA was an ultra light physical attack with ultra critical rate, temporary great strength boost, and physical resistance down 50% for 4 turns. I do like this. And removes physical resistance buffs. So, it's going to debuff physical resistance and remove any buffs that are on your opponent. Now, that's a part of that skill we haven't seen before. At least, not that I can recollect. So that means that if you're looking to get rid of physical resistance, debuff physical resistance, this is the best unit to do it. Great unit all the way around. I don't 100% in my heart of hearts believe it's still worth going ham for. She's going to have some really good uses with that SA. She's going to have a lot of situations where she's going to work really well, but I do think she's going to be conditional once again. So as enamored as I was with the idea of that 100% light attack damage buff yesterday, I'm starting to peter off a little bit and kind of feel like is not going to be terribly many situations where you're going to be able to use that outside of an EX mission, or very specific EX mission, mind you, or from the upcoming Familia Rush. So as great as I thought she was, I'm starting to lose my interest in this unit. Now, passives, Dark Resist 35%, Counters are light physical attack, 35% strength, agility, and dex. We can kind of see that in every unit going forward, at least for the moment. 20% damage on critical, 50% physical and magic resistance. That's a very nice one to have on there. And an ogre killer. So really, these units are all designed really for the upcoming Familia Rush. Well, let's talk about a mid first, okay? A mid. HP is 1300. I think that's phenomenal for an assist. That's great. Now, mind you, these are at max limit break. If you're ever at level 60, she's going to have much lower stats. But neither here nor there. We always talk about the max limit break stats, okay? MP 139 is good. Physical attack 1417 is kind of bad. Okay, it's atrocious. But let's see what she does down here, okay? Now, defense 402 is really good. I think she's really here more for her defenses. Now, foes plural. This is a max limit break. Strength and magic down 20%. Sleep and seal resist 100%. Now, I do love the strength and magic down 20%, but we have another unit in the game that does that. And that unit is well over a year old. Most people have probably pulled her. If you haven't, it is what it is. And now we have 2 different items that in the game that provide ailment resistances. You can also put an assist on there that'll take care of the sleep and then use a seal anklet. Or you can use a seal assist and use a sleep anklet. I don't feel like there's enough events that have double ailment for this really to be even a concern. Even if there is a double ailment, which I'm sure there will be in the upcoming Familia Rush, it is so easy to handle, I don't think it's going to be a problem. So, I think this whole banner is a 100% easy, complete skip. If you're free to play, walk away with your head held high. Yes, you're not going to do so great in Familia Rush, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Let's talk about the other banner. Popstar Live Show Il Milione. I think that's, I don't know. Kitty Star Filvis. HP is 3767. Not terrible for a magic unit. Not amazing, but not terrible. 2007 is a phenomenal magic stat. 386 is a decent MP. 495 is kind of an okay defense stat. 1107 for agility is really good, though. Now, as far as her skills go, skill 1 is skill 1 is an 83 MP cost. 83 MP cost. Foes plural fast high water magic attack with ultra uncounter rate, strength and magic down 40% for 3 turns, and self magic encounter rate plus 60%. I like that. For 3 turns, 3 additional actions. Foes plural mid water physical attack with ultra and guard rate. That's a lot to take in there. Basically, she does Haruhime's strength and magic down 40%. She gives herself magic and counter rate 60%. Notice, not water attack. Only the magic and the counter rate. So she really needs a water buff to really kind of shine. 3 additional actions, foes plural mid-water physical attack. Okay. Good unit. Very well-rounded. But let's look at skill 2. 33 MP cost. Allies. Fast. Penetration rate plus 40%. Water attack damage plus 50%. For all allies, I will add. So she gets her water buff there, which is that more than makes up for what she's lacking. And the fact that it's all allies is really, really phenomenal. Couple that with a penetration rate for all allies, great unit. Absolutely love this unit, and I actually really do want this unit. Then, for 4 turns, and that's all for 4 turns. Then, foes plural, water resist down 40% for 4 turns. I don't know if we really need that on her. We have other units that do water resistance, but it is a fantastic skill to throw on her, and she's going to be an amazing asset to the water team. If you have a water team, you're going to want this unit. Now, let me explain, when we get to the end of the banner, how to handle this, okay? I do like this unit. I've not fallen out of love with this unit. We'll talk about it at the end of the banner, okay? Skill 3 is a 29 MP cost, foe, singular, high water, magic attack with skill damage plus 150%. If charmed. If charmed. Now, that's a massive caveat. I said yesterday that basically relies on Leafia. Not really. I'll explain here in a moment. Okay? Well, no, let's just go ahead and get into it. No, we'll get into passives, and then we'll go to SA. Because on our passive, not only should you get the usual 35% fire resist, counters are water, magic attack, and 50% charm. If she can charm the opponent, she can hit like a truck. This is a unit, mark my words right now, with her counter rate. Remember, she gets 60% counter rate. With her counter rate, this is a rare AoE unit that will most likely work on a single target team. Let that sink in for a moment. Now, this kind of basically relies on her getting that counter off before she does skill 3. So it's extremely conditional. But with a really good counter rate like 60%, I feel pretty confident she's going to be able to do it. The downside is, here's where it's going to get really weird. With that agility that high, you're going to have to remove her agility buff. There's just no way around it. You're going to have to like basically nuke her agility. Now, there's ways to do that. Using her as a single target is going to be viable, but it's going to be weird. But I do like this unit a lot. I really, really do. So, she also gets 35% magic agility and dex, 20% damage on critical, and she's an ogre killer. Her SA is Ultra Water Magic Attack with Ultra Critical Rate, 40% skill damage per water magic move. Remember, that becomes 160% after everything's said and done. And magic resistance down 60%. I like this unit a lot. I mean, I really, really, really do like this unit. This is one of the rare units on this banner that I'm absolutely going to go after. Probably only getting one copy. You heard me. Let me explain at the end. Before we explain that, though, let's get to Harumi. Harumi. 3,800 HP. Very, very good for... Well, okay, not very, very good. Respectable for a physical unit. I would really like to get close to that 4K remark. I thought she was a magic unit, but she's a physical unit. And fire physical at that, interestingly enough. And single target. So you kind of know what Record Buster we're getting next time. Okay? 300 MP cost. I'm sorry, 300 MP overall. It is what it is. 720 defense. Fantastic. Absolutely love that defensive stat. She's going to be very nice. And I won't say tanky, but she's gonna be hard to take down. 2091 physical stat is great. The big thing that kind of pulls her back is the 862 agility stat. That's an atrocious agility stat. But in Record Buster, agility is very, very, very. It's not a factor. It's not like a factor that you would rate these units on. So. Dat be dat. Now, SA. Oh, I'm sorry. We get SA. Skill 1. Skill 1, my apologies. Skill 1. 23 MP cost. Self, slow, strength, and fire attack damage plus 70%. Bam. Comes out of the gate with a big buff, and you're going to love that. Okay? That's for 4 turns, and foes, plural, extend debuffs by 3 turns. You heard me right. All foes get 3 turn debuff extension. Bam, girl. That is ludicrous. Skill 2 is a 48 MP cost. Foe singular fast mid-fire physical attack with Ultra on guard rate and 40% guard reduction and physical resist for 2 turns. So guard rate and physical resist go down 40% for 2 turns on your foe. 3 additional actions, foe singular mid-fire physical attack. She's just great. She's going to hit hard overall. Skill 3 is a super fire physical attack. Foe singular super fire physical attack. With ultra penetration rate. Skill damage 30%. per guard rate and physical resistance debuff. Now, multiply that by 4, that becomes a 120%. That's not the end of the world, but it is a decent percentage buff. Could be better, could be worse, but you will need to basically buff guard rate and physical resistance on the assist side. It's going to be a weird one to get off. That's going to be one that a lot of people are going to be lacking in their numbers. SA, foe singular ultra fire physical attack with ultra penetration rate, plus 40% skill damage per foe guard rate and physical resistance debuff. So once again, debuff on the assist side as well. And fire resist down 60%. I like these stats. They're really, really, really going to help the fire team. But if I'm honest, it really is going to pertain mostly to the upcoming Record Buster and Familia Rush. And then you're going to probably not use it for a bit of time after that. Fire team's really good, as is the water team. So I think fire's going to get shelved for a few months. Okay? Remember that. Remember that. We'll talk about it after Lily. Passives are 35% wind resist counters are fire physical attack and foes strength and magic down 45% for 3 turns. I like that. That's on counter. That's nuts. 35% strength and endurance and dex, 25% damage on penetration, and she is an ogre killer. Now, let's talk about Lily, and then let's talk about the banners. Okay? Here she is. HP 974 ain't so great. Physical 613, good. Not phenomenal. We have units in the 700s. But good. And it's someone you'll probably use a lot. Now, here's the whole thing. At max limit break, 20% penetration rate, water attack damage, and fire attack damage. Also 20%. So, if you're like me and you're lacking the 20% buff for either fire or, in my case, water, this unit, pretty necessary. So yeah, you better believe I'm going after old girl. Now here's the interesting part. So let's talk about these banners, okay? Because I think there's an interesting caveat, an interesting situation going here. First of all, banner number 1, complete skip. As much as I liked eyes yesterday, I've just fallen out of love with eyes. Don't need eyes. If you go to get one, do a single summon, see what you get, great. Walk away. If you got, your waifu unit, just you got the one copy, leave. Leave these banners alone. Banner number 2. Every unit on this banner I would use on the regular. I'm probably only going to do one summon on this banner. Let me explain. And those of you that are free to play, pay close attention here, okay? Now, when you see a banner like this is a great banner. It's phenomenal. Here's the problem. Water and fire are 2 teams they do not need to bolster anymore. They're great teams. They're getting a lot of love. Fantastic. Love it for them. Usually what happens is they get a ton of love, and then they just kind of peter off for a little bit. It happens. It happens every time. Look at, it's been a long time since Light's gotten the buff. Light just got a really decent buff, but it also at the same rate. It was very conditional. Very conditional. So, they went hard on Light for like 6 months. And then they were kind of like, let's go work on this, fire or whatever. Fire was hot for quite a bit of time. Then, right now, water is really hot. So, I kind of feel like, and yes, I do realize I just said fire's hot. Whatever. You'll deal with that. Here's the deal. These 2 teams, fire and water, not talking about light, just talking about fire and water, not likely to get a major buff for quite a bit of time. That means, without a buff, that means they're probably not going to be terribly used for Familia events and EX missions and all that stuff. You're more than likely going to start seeing new elements or different elements getting some love going forward. So, because let's face it, some of those other elements really need some love. So, if you're free to play, there is absolutely no shame in doing one summon and then backing away from this banner. I don't think there's anything in this banner that if you've done what I told you guys to do, save everything and max everything on the anniversary banners, I don't think there's anything here that's going to change your life. And that's the one thing I want to really drive home here. Yes, we get way too many banners. One of the things I did for a long time is I would say, cool, I don't think this banner is worthwhile. I am going to save. And yes, some of those units did come in super handy. But give it 2 or 3 months, and their relevance has expired. Sure, those couple of months did suck. It was not a lot of fun. But we're really only talking Record Buster, Wargame, things like that. And in Wargame, I was still able to get, King 1 rank. And Record Buster, I was still able to hit top 1,000, even sometimes top 500. So, if you're not someone aiming for insane, crazy, absolutely insane top marks, you don't necessarily need to hit every single banner. Banners like this, as much as I love all 3 of these units, they're okay to skip. Because we've got the Christmas banner coming up, we've got the New Year's banner coming up, and New Year's banners are always insane. If you can help it, don't summon, save some Iris. That really, more than anything else, is my 2 cents in the matter. And there's no shame in that. There's absolutely no shame in that. You'll see a ton of whales throw money at these banners, and then maximum break every unit, and then Raffle Stomp, the Familia event. But they're going to do that anyway. You should not, at any time ever, try to live up to that standard. Live up to a realistic standard. Say, I've got 2,000 Iris. I can't afford to go 8,000 Iris on a banner right now. I've got to save. Save, guys. If you miss a couple of good banners, number one, these units are not time limited. They'll be in the general pool within a couple of weeks. If they are time limited, that's when I tell you guys it's a good time to go crazy. Number two, we know that the New Year's banners are upon us really soon, and those New Year's banners are always amazing. So, if you can help it, save. That is my 2 cents. Yes, we've had too many banners, but if you're really worried about that, don't spend money. Save your free-to-play Iris and put it in the banners that you truly, honestly believe in. That's my 2 cents. Let me know what you thought in the comments section down below. Like, comment, share. I'll catch you guys on the next one, and hopefully this advice helped.